Okay, so here we are. We're heading into UK 8. A quick rundown. Last turn, Japan after us. They only mobilized 2 into Manchuria, and then they mobilized 3 infantry and 2 fighters to protect their Tokyo, because we did have, at that time, we had all these transports that were kind of targeting it, so they needed to protect there, which is understandable. So we decided to go ahead and use 2 infantry, because we had that infantry, sitting down here and here and here, and we had the transport coming in from 45 to help with DEI. So we decided to go ahead and use a transport to take 2 infantry, use our fighters. We had to do some creative cycling of the fighters and whatnot, because we had the 2 fighters in West USA we wanted to drive here, but we wanted the 2 fighters to go and still be able to land, because if they landed somewhere else, they would have been at risk of a Japan restrike on J8, so we couldn't really land anywhere else. After hitting here and having a movement of 2, we could only have landed here, and they would have been in striking distance. So that wasn't any good. So we needed them to land there. So our 2 fighters, we couldn't fly to 61, but yet those 2 fighters that were in 56 were trying to get to Moscow by US 9. So on US 7, they came down here. From here, they can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and land on the carrier, or they could go 1, 2, 3, 4 and land on the carrier. Either place for US 8 leaves them in range to fly into Moscow for US 9. So again, remember, we're targeting that G10 defense. We did use, during US's turn, we went ahead, excuse me, yes, so we went ahead and, why is it showing up that way? One infantry to Kiyakusu. I don't know. I thought they had somebody here. Anyways, I guess they did not. But we did take DEI. We built a Thailand factory. We got enough going here that if I bring one more fighter in, and we did choose to come up here, because taking this made this bomber not be able to hit, because the bomber can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we hadn't taken Shanghai here, then it could have landed here and the bomber could have hit 61. But now the bomber can't touch 61, especially since we took Formosa. So there's no tricky Formosa play in here. We did that last time, so that was very, very smart play of Commander Com. And so that means they've only got 7 fighters that can hit here. We now got 2 destroyers, 2 carriers, that's 4, 3 fighters is 7. I am going to bring 1 fighter back, because we don't need them in Moscow quite yet, so that we have a defensive 8. Because when someone knows you're building the fighters for defense, then striking Japan at negative odds into this just to take out some of the fighters is not a bad play. So they could strike here to then prevent us reinforcing Moscow. So we're going to make this, I'm going to go ahead and put another fighter back here, make this battle less tasty, so to speak. Additionally, they're going to want to use their fighters here to try and get Manchuria back, as well as they're going to want to go ahead and kill this transport, which is partially what brings in, what do I move, because Germany land their fighter in Sichuan. I'll talk about in a second their tank here, but I'm definitely going to kill this fighter. The question is I was going to move all of these guys in and an art and a tank back into here, and that would give me defense versus the infantry fighter bomber coming this way. None of these fighters can hit, but the fighter bomber and infantry could, so I was thinking they might go potentially 1 infantry and 3 fighters if they want to be risky, or really 2 infantry and the 3 fighters, at least 2 infantry coming this way, fighter bomber that I want to be able to defend against, and what lives and what makes that worth it. Moving in, I think I might just go ahead and push all 3 of these guys in regardless, and go ahead and challenge him to the bit of attacking there and attacking here. The reason of taking this even though we had to sacrifice a transport and we're only getting 3 IPC out of it, is it delays. One, it took two of their infantry off the board right off the bat, plus it delays them building 3 more infantry on J8. So that's 5 less infantry that at the end of J8 is, or 5 less ground units for Japan that's going to be on the mainland after J8. So, even delaying that for J8, and then they got to take it now, and then J9 they can build. So delaying it for a turn was worth it in our book, even to lose the transport. So that's where all this play happened. Now, you ask, what was Germany thinking putting a fighter and a tank down here? And it took me a while to figure this out. And they moved their 3 tanks and 4 fighters up here. I was scratching my head a little bit at this one, but I believe what they were worried about was my tank blitzing, hitting here, and then having 1, 2, 3, 4 air that could hit it. And that if I took out the 4 ground of Japan, then Japan would not be able to take this back this turn, and then they'd really be hurting as U.S. built here and so forth and so forth. And I think that's why they brought these tanks here. So if they go all in here and don't kill this guy, then that way, if U.S. was to re-attack it, then Germany could come back in here and attack again with the tanks and the fighters. So I think they're trying to protect this factory is what that boils into, but it meant they had to lay down a sacrifice of a German tank and a German fighter to block that blitz mode. Honestly, I'm not sure I would have taken it. It'd be tough. I mean, if this fighter and tank were back here, I really almost need them to be in the defense. Maybe, it'd be risky. And maybe I'd do it and lose the tank and the bomber and just let things kind of go through here. I mean, it definitely it would have been tempting. If you could wipe these guys out and not let them retake Manchuria here, that would be a big win for the Allies. So I can see it. It would have been tempting. But I don't know for sure if I would have done it. I'm not going to dwell on it too much because it doesn't matter right now. So the big thing, again, like we've been talking about, G10 is where our biggest fear is right now. If we can hold them through G10, then they'll have to build tanks yet one more turn, and then G11, and then, it's going to get tougher and tougher for them as they're only adding 7 units, and hopefully we keep mass producing fighters and focusing them in. So unfortunately, this turn I have 32 IPC, and I looked at all the fighters on the board, and I looked at what could they do and what could happen here. And the other thing that I'd forgot in my initial G10 thought process is they could move this infantry up, and then on J9, do infantry, tank, bomber, and 8 fighters into Russia, just kamikaze style, and then let Germany wipe out the rest. So I needed to add in that Japan kamikaze style attack, in which case it's getting really thin for the G10 defense, even with buying 3 fighters for UK now to fly in this next turn. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build 3 fighters for Germany, UK this turn. I'm going to put them in India. Just making sure. So the G bomber could go 1 bomber versus 3 fighters. That's going to hurt him just as much as it'll hurt me, so I'm fine with that. Unfortunately, because I really wanted to do 2 fighters, a transport, go ahead and drop a transport up here because all of his air is gone, right? So I could drop a transport for free and then be able to start doing some trading next turn, and an infantry to help start getting some ground back down in this part of the world. But alas, I don't think that's to be. I think we're going to let this go another turn. Unfortunately, look at all this emptiness. I hate seeing all this empty, Germany just be completely empty back here. They don't want to do anything for any of this. That hurts my soul. But I think holding G10 and mass producing the G10 hold is more important than one extra turn with the transport. So we're going to go just 3 fighters, saving a couple IPC. I think I am going to go ahead and just send everything there. This guy definitely is only going to hit here so he can fly back, because I want 2 air to be able to make it. So we've got 2 fighters here that'll fly on back to the carrier. Just double check, because I made that goof that one turn. Oy. They should both have 2 and 3 movements left. Good. And we're going for it. I could have came back here, but again, Japan is gonna kill my transport whether I went here or here. But this at least distracts some fighters going this direction instead of going up this way and worrying about what's going on up here. So we'll take it. Thought about, would it be worth, originally, we set this up so that we could hit these Japan units. He left the infantry artillery there, and there's just better targets down here. I'd rather take German units off the board for that G10 timing right now than Japan units. So I'm going to go ahead and, I'd rather do this attack anyway, so I don't need to blitz the tank across. I could have blitzed the tank into here, but, a tank in defense on the G10 battle is a 3 defense power or a 5 defense strength. The infantry on attack is a 1 attack power or a 3 attack strength. So I lose more out of it by sending my tank into there. So it's not really worth it to me to take the tank into that position. So he did attack and wiped out. This all went for wipe. He lost one of his bombers in doing it, though. So even though I had a fighter there, he lost a bomber. As far as I'm concerned, on G10, that was even Steven. The mistake that we goofed, and I forgot to say anything to my comrades, my allies, is we didn't leave one Russian infantry in West Russia, so he was able to blitz the German tanks here and strafe against Caucasus, in which case, when he did that, we lost 6 infantry, he lost 3. So that was a very good battle for him to kill 6 defensive infantry for the cost of 3 attacking infantry. That's a very positive trade for Germany in that regard. So that kind of made our G10 a little bit more tight, along with that possibility of weighing in the Japan kamikaze attack. So that's why we got to do the route that we're going here. Okay. It's a lot of talking. This is a 50-50. I hope we can take this and start take another 2 unit, 1 unit for us, 1 unit for them off the board permanently for Japan. If not, then U.S. at some point will have to come clean this up. But hopefully we can take it and not have to have the U.S. backtrack to go this way at all. Good news is U.S. is going to be bringing some ground troops into the world next turn. All right, I think that's all my attacks, all the talking, and I've kind of lost track of my attacking. All right. Bombardment first. Come on, guys. Get that hit right off the bat. Don't make me sweat this at all. Boom. Yeah. All right. The units will be lost. I doubt I'll get another UK transport out there, but that'll pay itself off, and by round 11, round 12, that's paid itself off for the transport. I guess if we factored in the guys, it may be a little bit different. But we weren't going much elsewhere with them. I'd love to take this and him not get a hit back. 5, 5, 5. Rats. Alright, he got to hit back. This would be nice to take and him not get a hit back then. There's the hit. Here's the 5. Give me that 5. Give me that 5. There's the 5. All right. I did set for this. I did go ahead and return back to fighters last, and I asked Commander Com to go ahead and do, switch his defense profile to consider switching his defense profile to fighters last, in case Japan did do that attack. That way, it would take out our boats first, and our fighters could land on the coast here somewhere, and then they could still make it on into Moscow. And we're going to come down here. U.S. can come down here. We can always come back up for a build up here next turn. And all our fighters are still dead zoning C-Zone 5, and our bomber are still dead zoning there because we could bring the 2 carriers up and we could build a carrier so we could land all 6 fighters or 5 fighters and a bomber through here. So we still got a good strong dead zone on C-Zone 5 for the Sea Lion attempt. So we'll come here. Chases a little sub back that direction and then come back up most likely. So my big question here comes in this department. Do I move this artillery tank down here to protect, or do I go ahead and move them on into Moscow? Or do I leave them right where we're at for a potential counter if he was to attack there? Maybe that's the best move. Because there's nothing that can hit here. So we could have 4 units. The air, 1, 2, 3. They can't land anywhere. I guess if Japan took this, they could land there. So he could do 4 air and a bomber. I don't know that that would be advantageous for him, though, to hit 2 infantry, artillery, and a tank. So just leaving them here lets me move into there on the next turn, or we can use them with infantry, artillery to counterattack anything that may survive if he chooses to attack there. I think I'm liking that idea a little bit better. It's a lot of green. I like seeing all the green. But yeah, I think they're going to be okay because he's going to want to go here. He's going to kill this. He's going to want to kill these fighters. And these 4 fighters, they can't really hit anything over here in the Philippines. So they're defending the Philippines well, but they really can't help anything, in here in the mainland or even up in the Manchuria area. So he's only got 5 air and 5 units to try to take this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. So that's a lot of spraying himself. So we're just going to leave that infantry artillery there, I think. I think we're going to leave these 2 infantry artillery here because I don't think 1, 2, 3, 4 landing the fighters here. If he did kill this, and he killed this, and he killed that, maybe that is a nice little setup for him there. I doubt he'd do. I just don't foresee that. So we'll keep an eye out. If Japan takes here or here, one of these 2, then we may want to consider reinforcing some Russians on here just to prevent an airstrike. But I don't see him doing that. So we'll keep an eye there. I can't get through. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right like that. The only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. I might move the tank into Moscow. I'm going to double check our odds against, you know, the attack this turn. Make sure Russia's safe against Germany here. But otherwise, I think we're good here.